We'll call the meeting to order. First item is invocation by Father Balmer of St. Germain Catholic Church. Father, good to see you.
Heavenly Father, we give you thanks for your blessings and graces and love and mercy you shower upon us. We thank you ahead of time for the rain showers you're going to send our way. We also ask you to end our drought. We pray for abundant moisture for our area. We ask you to protect those who protect us. Keep all our first responders safe from harm. Also protect our children. Keep them safe. Grant them an abundance grant them a desire for learning, a desire for virtue. May the parents be a model of virtue, and grant their parents an abundance of love for them. We ask for blessings, abundance of wisdom for our town council as they make decisions that affect us today and in the future. And last but not least, grant to all the citizens of our town an abundance of peace, abundance of faith, hope, and love. We ask this to Christ, our Lord. Amen.
Thank you, Father. Appreciate that. Okay, next will be the pledge led by Aliyah and Alyssa. Identical twins, I believe. Am I right? At least twins.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, ladies. Okay, next, Diane, we got roll call.
Mayor Skoog.
Present.
Vice Mayor Anderson.
Here.
Councilmember Anderson, or Councilmember Mallory is absent this evening. Councilmember Grossman.
Here.
Councilmember Nye is also absent this evening. And Councilmember Whiting.
Here.
We have a quorum there.
Thank you, Diane. Okay, we move on to scheduled announcements and presentations. Student of the month. This is where Alyssa and Aliyah come on up. And her family and parents, sisters, I couldn't tell you who all is here, but you're welcome to invite the whole family up if you like.
A lot of shy people here tonight. Well, this is one of our more exciting parts of the council meeting, especially on the fourth week of the month. But as you know, we have our holidays coming up, so we've done it a little early this time. And so it is extra special because you see two youngsters in front of us, or high school students, or young adults. And we're here to recognize them tonight as the student of the month for December. And if you're not aware by now, but we do this, as I mentioned, every month, that this is a collaboration between the Prescott Valley Rotary Club, the Bradshaw Mountain High School, and the Prescott Valley, town of Prescott Valley. And what we like to do is recognize outstanding students at Bradshaw Mountain High School who excel in their school, in the community, and elsewhere. And then through the process within Bradshaw Mountain High School, we hear about these students and how worthy they are to be recognized in our community. And tonight we're very happy to recognize two ladies, Alyssa and Aliyah Bugarin. Did I pronounce that right? And they are twins. I mentioned to him earlier, and I know that Court Miner, the principal there, has a nice story about how we got to this point tonight relative to the fact that we're here recognizing them versus one individual student. But we believe that the things that we recognize that you'll hear about tonight are values that are, I think, embraced not only by the Rotary and high school, but also the town of Prescott Valley. And so we're very happy to see both of them here. And as I'd mentioned to him, I am a twin as well. And so there are special things that happen. And, obviously they're achieving a lot together in school. And sometimes I think as parents we wonder if we can even get one of our students in high school through and graduating. So obviously the parents have twice of a challenge, I guess, to look at that. Well, as usual, I get a little background information to give you an idea where they excel, what they've been doing in their lives in high school and outside in the community. And what I've done is kind of categorize in 3 or 4 different areas because they did submit information, but it was kind of, again, in a twin type of situation. So it was a little more unusual. So they have focused on their academic opportunities. They participate and get involved with high school peer mentoring. They're involved with HOSA. We talk about HOSA all the time. It's a Future Health Professionals organization in high school. And they are certified nurse assistants, so obviously they've taken that a step further and become very much involved as health professionals. They are avid supporters of school-based programs and projects, including Halloween Dance Committee, Art After Hours project, Easter at the library, and Future Freshman's Night. I'm sure Future Freshman is probably one of the highlights of the year as far as the activities. They have volunteered in the community, and they reported over 200 hours of volunteer work. And they do a lot of walking, apparently. Walk for Alzheimer's, March of Dimes, Breast Cancer Walk. They volunteered here at the library and the Civic Center, which we appreciate very much. They've worked at Stepping Stones and Feed My Starving Children as projects that they're involved with. So obviously they're very well-rounded, involved not only at school but in the community. They have an appreciation also of arts and culture, and I think we find as we recognize our youth that they're multi-talented, just as our two twins here tonight are. They're faithful supporters of the drama and troupe performances. I don't think they've missed a show. They participated just, I think, last weekend in the Lego robotics competition. I don't know how they fared, but they're still smiling, so I think they did fine. And they did place first place in some of the art competitions at school. And we did get some information regarding their achievement in academics, and I'll leave that to Court, but they told me they have a combined GPA of 7.375. And you may think of that as, wow, that's not very good. But there's more to come, and I think Court Minor would be more than happy to tell you about that. Court.
Thank you, Michael. Mayor Skoog, council members, distinguished audience, my name is Court Minor. I'm the proud principal of Bradsham Mountain High School. Every month we have our Student of the Month, and it comes straight from our staff and teachers at school. This month was kind of odd when I got multiple nominations from staff members, and when in my experience in dealing with twins growing up, friends, they always really wanted to be, individuals, and so responding to the teachers and the staff at school is like, well, should we do one month, one the other month? Should we split them up? And they were like, no. And then when I met with the girls and they turned in their bio sheet that Mr. Whiting was referring to, they combined everything. Here's everything that we've done. So they've embraced being twins. And hopefully you heard a little bit of what Mr. Whiting was saying. They are very involved in school. Aaliyah has a 3.8 GPA. She's ranked in the top 13% of Bradsham Mountain High School. And Alyssa has a 3.472 GPA, and she's ranked in the top 26%. What I love about my staff is it's real easy to pick out the number one, the number two, the number three kid in school in terms of academics. But these students not only are working hard in their classes, but they're also giving back to the community and to Bradsham Mountain High School. This school year right now, we were recognized by the United Blood Services Platinum Award winner for over 70% of our seniors getting out and giving blood at school. And then as a Platinum Award winner at the high school, we also, the United Blood Service also organized by area. And this year in Northern Arizona, the theme was baseball, so they gave them the Mantle Award, etc. We got the Babe Ruth Award for the most participation of students in a school at Bradsham Mountain High School. And Alyssa and Aaliyah are big proponents of this, being part of the HOSA program, and both our HOSA and our student council put together our blood drives. And so it was a great honor this year to receive that award at Bradsham Mountain High School, and these two young ladies were a big part of that. We're also fortunate enough tonight that I have some of my staff here, so I'm going to ask Miss Larson to come up and give you a little bit more. She's fortunate or unfortunate to have both of them in class, confusing them. But I'm going to call her up just real quick so she can add a little more of academics.
Well, thank you for having us here. It really is an honor to be a teacher of these girls. I've had Aaliyah in class. I haven't actually gotten to have Alyssa in class. However, they are in my class every morning. They're so conscious of their grades. They're asking for math homework help. They're helping other kids with English and whatever else that they need to help with. And so it's really fun to watch them kind of grow and become great leaders and great students. The other thing I get to do is I get to sponsor the other club that they're super involved in. HOSA is the biggest group on campus as far as extracurriculars. Link would be the second biggest, and they are in both. We could not run Link without them. We couldn't. They've become fantastic leaders. And it's really been great to watch them grow. They're leading groups of freshmen. They want to be on every planning committee. I had to tell them, look, you guys need to take a step back and so we can grow some other leaders. And they were not excited about that because they want the best for all of the freshmen at Bradshaw, and they want to make Bradshaw a better place in everything that they do.
Thank you, Ms. Larson. And with that, I'd like to introduce Aaliyah and Alyssa Bugarin.
Okay, we would like to thank the town of Prescott Valley and the Rotary Club for giving this award. I also want to thank our family for coming and my friends. So I guess that's all I have to say. Thank you so much. I would like to thank Aaliyah for always speaking for me.
Well, I heard a little tidbit when I was outside that they actually rotate classes, so you're not sure who you have in class. Oh, can you? They always say that, you know. I do notice a little difference in height, and I don't know if that's shoes you're wearing or is it? Okay. Is she? Okay. Who was born first, by the way? Okay. She's a little more, I don't know, aggressive maybe? I don't know. Because she had to get out quicker, so. But it is a great honor for us tonight to honor you as twins especially. And we want to give you a few mementos just to remember this evening. And we have a couple of certificates, and I'm not going to even try and remember Alyssa and Lisa. But we have one of these for each of you. And we hope that you hang it in a prominent place in your home or at school or at work. And we do have a couple of paperweights that kind of honor you as Student of the Month, and it says Student of the Month, Prescott Valley, Arizona. So we hope in your schoolwork and hopefully in your endeavors as far as going on to bigger and better things, that we invite you to come back to our community and do the same things you're doing now in high school to make Prescott Valley a great place to live. So congratulations again, and we'd like to give you one last moment if you have your parents here, if you'd like to introduce them, and if they'd like to come up and say anything, they don't have to, but we always like to embarrass them, so please come up, don't be shy. So
This is my mom, Danielle, and this is my dad, Sam. And they are my parents.
And would you like to say anything? Okay. Well, we appreciate the commitment and the support you give your children, and obviously they've taken it to heart, and they're doing a great job in school, and we honor both the family and the twins tonight. Congratulations.
No comments from the parents?
No, too shy.
Okay, well, thank you so much, and congratulations. Very unusual. First time I think you've had twins up. Keep up the good work. Thank you. Okay, Chief, did you want to talk next event? Okay, good. Okay, number 6 is Certificate of Appreciation to Stevens Rake for 5 years of service. Steve, can we meet you up here? Diane, did you have any comments?
Yes, we do, Mayor.
You're in luck tonight.
I believe this was written by Ivan, our town attorney. Right?
I think Stephen wrote it, actually.
Oh, Stephen wrote it. Okay. No, Ivan wrote it. Anyone who walks through the legal department on a routine basis has probably gotten to know Deputy Town Attorney Stephen Drake. People who regularly pass his door eventually get into a conversation with him, given his gregarious nature. Because Stephen has a knack for remembering names, faces, and personal details, and he tends to pick those up during conversations, next time you pass by, you will likely get a question from him about your day that is more than the standard pleasantry. For example, he may want to know if you enjoyed your recent trip, whether your kids have recovered from their recent colds, or what you thought about the recent trade involving a player on a favorite professional sports team. Folks who pass through will also tend to see Stephen at the microwave and sink area preparing one of his healthy snacks. If you ask Stephen, we'll tell you that he eats early and often in order to keep his metabolism fired up. 5 years ago, when he joined the legal department and saw that everyone else was sharing a small refrigerator for the food items that they bring to work, he explained that that just wouldn't do, and that he went out and bought the same size refrigerator, brought it into his own office just for his use. And it's always full. Stephen has many years of experience in government legal work at the state and the local level. He's also acquainted with many people throughout the state who do similar type work. If staff members or counsel come to Stephen with a question or a concern, they will likely see him pull out a yellow legal pad and start taking copious notes. By the time they are done talking through the question or concern, they will likely leave feeling that they have been given sufficient time and attention. Stephen's department head sleeps better at night just because he knows Stephen is available to fill in for the prosecutor, Bob Todd, on the rare occasions needed because of Stephen's broad background in both civil and criminal matters. In the final analysis, Stephen has become an important part of the legal department team, and we are grateful to have him. We look forward to what the next 5 years may bring with Stephen in the department. Congratulations, Stephen.
Question, Steve. Did you write that yourself? No. No. Vice Mayor, any comments?
Well, I want to congratulate you for the 5 years. I can still remember Ivan's face when he had that look of relief when he told us that he finally had you on board. So we're glad to have you here, and we hope to have you for a lot longer. So thank you very much.
I think you have a very special lady in the audience. You want her? Introduce her.
Had Ivan known she was coming, Ivan might have written a different narrative for her. But yeah, I'd like to recognize my mother, who's in the audience.
Are you going to join us up here?
Sure.
Sure. Council, got any comments? Anyone? Marty?
The comments that were read by Diane are just so true and on point. I mean, every time I walk through and I see Stephen, we've had a variety of interesting and fun conversations on all kinds of different topics. But those few instances when I've actually had a serious question, Stephen is he's really good at being able to give you the proper answer and put it in the proper context so that first of all, you can understand it, and second of all, it's an honest opinion. It has no prejudice to it. So I know you've been in the town longer than I've been on the council, and every time I go through and having a conversation, I always walk away with a smile on my face. So it's really nice, and 5 years, and so I guess we're going to see you again up here often. So thank you.
Mike?
Yeah, I just want to congratulate Stephen. It doesn't seem like it's been 5 years. I think it seemed like just weeks ago we started, and I think when I look at the attorneys, it's like Ivan and Stephen yin and yang, and it seems to work pretty well. And I always look at Ivan as a father Yeah. And I always feel, from Ivan's perspective, that he's a father figure, and Stephen, not necessarily, So I appreciate that balance that we have, that we can work with in terms of the legal issues that are brought before us. But I appreciate all your professionalism and what you bring to the town as far as your experience, and we hope you're here for another at least 15 years. So congratulations, Stephen.
Thank you, Mike. 20 minutes.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Well, I love Prescott Valley, and I'm very happy that Stephen is here working with everybody. It's a wonderful place to work, and he's got wonderful people to work with. Thank you very, very much.
Well, we're very happy with Stephen. Stephen, any comments?
Oh, sure, I'll make a few. First of all, I want to thank Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members, and appreciate the nice comments. And likewise, if you know about my background, I have worked for 2 different state agencies, and I've worked for another municipality full time, and I've represented municipalities when I was in the private sector. So I'm not just saying this, but it's really a pleasure working here for a variety of reasons. One is the council. You're easy to talk to because you're very receptive. And when I do give advice, I try not to, you're capable, all the people I deal with are capable of making their own decisions. So it's usually just looking for guidance, and that guidance from a legal perspective. So I appreciate the council and Mayor. You're frequently in my office for, just to say hello or ask me questions. With regard to the town's leadership, I can't say strong enough things about both Larry and Ivan and the department heads that I work with, such as Diane and Bill and others that are here today. But, I think the leadership of the town, I just feel so great about it. I mean, Larry and Ivan are very different. Ivan and I are very different for different ways, and I think that plays, off each other, very well. I'm glad that you referred to Ivan as the father figure and not being that he is actually a father and I'm not. But with regard, I can't say enough about the respect that I have, like I said, for the leadership in this town and working with them and everybody that I work with. Great group of people, and just want to thank you for making this such a pleasant place to work, because all of us that work here, we give, the council especially, we all give of our time and ourselves, and we could all be working in other sectors in other areas and for other reasons, and we choose to work here because of the common good, and I think that's great, and it makes me feel good about coming to work. So thanks a lot.
Chief, did you have another perspective on it? Leah, I know you had a comment.
I'll teach you to show up.
That is what I get for coming. Well, I came to support Stephen. Stephen and I struck up a friendship the first day, walked in for an interview. We just hit it off, and he's been a great friend and great to work with. He has a great sense of humor, and he knows I appreciate him, and he makes it fun to come to work as well as all of you, too, because I work with great people. So anyway, congratulations, Stephen.
You said today was the first day you got to be a friend with Steve.
Today is the last day. No. No. The first day was when he walked in for his interview. Yeah.
Okay, Mayor, I do want to say something. I think that the relationship between the legal department and a police department is really, really important in a lot of aspects. And we probably couldn't ask for a finer partner or counselor to go to when we have questions to lead us through those areas that we're not quite sure of. So thank you for all your support that you give the police department.
Vice Mayor?
Okay, well, we have a couple of things for you, Stephen. First of all, we have a certificate of appreciation presented to Stephen Drake in appreciation for 5 years of dedicated service to the town of Prescott Valley, November 21st, 2011 through November 21st, 2016. And we have your 5-year pin. So, congratulations and thank you very much.
congratulations, Stephen. Thank you so much for your service. Next item is comments and communications. Anyone? Chief, you want to start? You had
Good evening, Mayor, members of council, but most importantly, the citizens of Prescott Valley. On August 18th of this year, a former town council member publicly accused me of violating Arizona law. At the September 8th council meeting, I was again accused of breaking the law. And finally, on November 3rd, that same council member submitted a letter of resignation. In that letter, he reiterated his public statement that the police chief had been involved in illegal activity. Excerpts from that letter of resignation were printed in the November 9th, 2016 edition of the Prescott Valley Tribune, which is pretty much delivered to every home in town. It's easy for people to cast unsupported accusations. It is dangerous and hurtful to make them in a public forum, such as a formal council meeting. Public statements should be made regarding a matter of public concern, but they should be grounded in facts, not baseless rhetoric for political posturing. These accusations have been hurtful to my family, to my department, and to me. I agree with the former council member in that the community should have trust and confidence in their chief of police. So to that end, I come before the public this evening to announce that the Arizona Attorney General has concluded their investigation into the complaint filed against me. They have determined that none of the allegations could be substantiated, and they have closed the inquiry into this matter. I remain committed to ensuring the safety of this town, and I will continue to do everything in my power to make Prescott Valley one of the best places to live and raise a family. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief, and we're on your side, Chief. Okay, any other comments? Vice Mayor?
I have just one comment to make regarding the chief's statement, and that is that I would hope that the news reports with the same zeal that they've used for the last 8 months the fact that this was found to have no merit. So, thank you, Chief.
Marty?
Yeah. The other night, for those of you that aren't aware, I'm the liaison to the Humboldt Unified School District from the council to the school district. And the other night we had a meeting, school board meeting, and of course I was in attendance. One of the items that was on the agenda and came out at that meeting really ticked me off. The state, once again, is depriving our students of the education that they deserve. There's at the beginning of the year, the state budget was given $2.6 million for capital projects. And the state subsequently swept out $2.3 million. So there are 9 campuses in the Humboldt Unified School District, and they are expected to do their capital projects on $300,000. Now, what these capital projects are is to fix and or replace school buses, buildings, textbooks, computers, and anything else that might need money. The capital projects does not include salaries, and that's about it. One of the schools right now needs a whole new roof. That alone is $200,000. And there are 9 campuses, and there are items that need to be fixed and replaced. And sorry, you can't run a $2.6 million budget on $300,000. And they're doing this to all the districts around the state. So I am asking and encouraging everybody to call up our elected officials down in Phoenix and in Washington, D.C., and let them know that our children need to be supported. And that's our future. You know, those are the people that are going to be, you know, running this town and this state and this country in the future. And if they don't have a building to have a proper education in, and they're worried about the ceiling falling down on them, they're not going to get a good education. So I encourage everybody to let our elected officials down in Phoenix and Washington, D.C. know how we feel about it. Thank you.
Good. Mike, any comment? Any other comments? If not, we'll move on to all matters listed in the consent agenda. These are considered to be routine by the town council and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items. Unless discussion is desired, the item would be removed from the agenda and considered separately. These include the approval of the December 1st, 2016 minutes, council minutes, department reports, accounts payable, monthly financial report, council investment report, accepting the 100 Club of Arizona Safety Enhancement Stipend Award in the amount of $1,500. That's a $300 town match. Accepting a budget transfer from the National General Fund and other funds to the capital equipment amount needed to purchase the HVAC units for CASA, and H is awarding the purchase of a 1997 Mack truck from Arizona Department of Transportation through the State of Arizona Surplus Property Program in a total amount of $16,000. Anyone want to pull an item, or do you want to approve it as a whole? Mike?
Mr. Mayor, I'd be more than happy to make a motion to approve all matters listed in the consent agenda as listed on the agenda.
Second, anyone?
I'll second that.
Okay, we have the motion and a second. Would you set the vote, Diane?
Councilmember Whiting, how do you wish to vote?
Yes.
That's unanimous, Mayor.
Thank you, Diane. Okay, we move on to number 9, old business for action. Second reading of ordinance number 822, approving zoning map change ZMC 16006 Navajo Commons Apartment. I don't know if there's any comments on that. We've studied this one fairly extensively. If not, then I would ask the town council to read ordinance number 822 by title only for the second reading. Diane?
Ordinance number 822, an ordinance of the mayor and the common council of the town of Prescott Valley, a municipal corporation of Arizona, amending the town zoning map to change the zoning classification of an approximately 9 1/2 acre parcel located north of Florentine Road between Common Circle and Majesty Drive from C2 PAD, Commercial, General Sales and Services Planned Area Development, to R2 PAD, Residential, Multiple Dwelling Units, Planned Area Development Zoning, and providing that this ordinance shall be effective 30 days after its passage and approval according to law.
Thank you, Diane. With that, I would ask, shall the ordinance pass? First, is there any comments, anyone? Shall the ordinance pass? You want to set the vote, Diane?
Yes, Mayor? Councilmember Whiting?
Yes.
That's unanimous, Mayor.
Thank you, Diane. Move on to number 10, public hearing, presentation and development impact fees audit. Bill, and I see you got somebody here who knows all the answers.
She has all the answers for you, Mayor.
Good.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members. With me tonight, hopefully, here she is, Jill Shaw from Heinfeld Meach. She's going to go over the results of the audit of our development impact fees. So tonight we're actually going to have kind of discussion about 2 different types of audits. So tonight is going to, right now, Jill's going to talk about the impact fees. As you remember, a few years ago, there was some changes in legislation. One of the things that was required is that every 2 years, our impact fees have to be audited, not only for revenues, collections, but also for how the money is spent. And then as a result, we have to have a public hearing for just to go over the results. So there is no formal action required. Just Jill's going to go over the report and give you what they found. So, Jill.
Good. Welcome. Good to see you.
Thank you, Bill. Well, good evening, Mayor, council members. Thank you for having me
Pull
here.
that down just a little bit.
Sure. Thank you for having me here tonight to discuss the impact fee report. As Bill mentioned, in 2011, there was a change in legislation, and as part of that change, a new fee structure went into place for impact fees. There was a new land use assumptions report as well as infrastructure improvement plan that also went into place. And as part of that new legislation, an audit is required. Because those fees went into effect August 1st, 2014, it has been 2 years now since then, and so our report covers the period from August 1st, 2014 to June 30th, 2016. So not quite a full 2-year period, but just 1 month shy and makes it a clean cutoff at fiscal year end there for years going forward. As part of the audit, statute required that we look at the progress of the land use assumptions and infrastructure improvement plan, including the collection and expenditures of development impact fee revenue for each project in the plan, and also evaluate inequities in implementing the plan. So in statute, it was called an audit, but through deliberation of what kind of audit or engagement we could do, we actually ended up doing an agreed upon procedures engagement. So we, through discussions with management and other cities who are facing this new audit for the first time, developed some procedures that we thought would accomplish the spirit of the statute and be in compliance with the statute. So as a result, we performed the following procedures. We looked at a couple of different growth projections in the land use assumptions report, both population and dwelling units, and compared what those projections look like in the land use assumptions to updated projections or actual numbers. We also looked at a sample of 40 building permits issued during that 2-year time frame to make sure that fees were being charged in accordance with the fee schedule. As well as that looking at the inequities, that every permit holder was being charged the same fee depending on the situation. And in addition, we looked at a sample of 23 expenditures out of the impact fee funds to make sure that that money being spent was associated with an approved project in the plan. And although that's a sample of 23, due to the fact that there weren't a large number of expenditures, that actually encompasses nearly 95% of the expenditures during that 2-year period. And as a result of applying those procedures, in our report we had 2 findings that we noted. The first finding isn't necessarily a finding, just more of an observation of how those projected population and dwelling units figures in the land use assumption report compared to actual. So in looking at population, there was variances of 2 to 5% differences in population, and then in dwelling units, there was a variance anywhere from 2% to 20%. So that's permits that the town expected to issue versus what was actually issued. So just some information there that in looking to the future, what future projections might look like, it could help with that. And then our second finding is that of one of those 23 expenditures we looked at, the town purchased some equipment that was placed in a police vehicle, and the equipment itself was not listed in the infrastructure improvement plan. The vehicle was, but not this particular piece of equipment that was put in, and the total of that was just $1,000. So, and the town has subsequently corrected that error. And this report, as a part of the legislation, is required to be posted on the town's website within 60 days of this report being released. And this is the first report that the town has issued. So I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Questions, anyone? I think it was pretty straightforward. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else, Bill? Good job. Appreciate that.
I would just like to thank Katie and Bill for their help in getting this audit done for the first time. And as far as I'm aware, it's just the 4th audit of this nature in the state that's been issued. So they were a big help.
Okay, thank you. Any other comment on this public hearing? No, I guess if there is no more comment, we'll close the public hearing. We'll move on to B. Consideration of approving the comprehensive annual financial report for the town of Prescott Valley, fiscal year 2015-2016. Katie, you're up.
All right. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council. This evening, bringing before you the Comprehensive Annual Financial Report. I know most of you have already received this. And every year, our auditors, our external auditor from Heinfeld and Meach comes and discusses this with you. And so I'd like to introduce Michael Lazan from Heinfeld and Meach. And I'll be here to answer any questions if you should have any.
Good. Question?
All
Comment?
right. Thank you very much, Mayor, and all the council members for having us here today to present the audit report. We appreciate the time to come and talk to you and talk about the findings that we have and what we reviewed. So basically, we were engaged by the Town of Prescott Valley to perform a financial audit of the financial statements of the town. And the good news is we had an unmodified opinion, which is the clean opinion, which is the highest opinion we can give on your financial statement. So basically saying that they're free from material misstatement. Not saying that every number is perfect. We don't audit. We do perform reviews of your internal controls. However, we don't essentially put a stamp of perfection on your financial statements. And in addition to that, we also review your expenditure limitation report. And the good news there is that you guys were well under your expenditure limit. We also performed the highway user fee report as well, and there were no findings on that report either. In doing our audit, we did have one finding that came up. The town actually self-identified the finding. The town had discovered that there were some revenues that had not been properly allocated. They had been recorded on the general ledger and in the financial statements, but they hadn't been properly allocated amongst several funds. And the town actually discovered that themselves and self-reported the finding to us. Unfortunately, we still had to take the finding and put it into the report, but everything's been corrected. The money's been moved to the appropriate place, and the town has put controls in place to address and hopefully prevent any future findings in that area. So in addition to the comprehensive annual financial report, this 140-page report, we also issue the 7 community facilities districts reports. Those all had clean opinions as well. And in addition, we issue what's called the single audit report. So for entities that expend more than $750,000 in federal funds, which the town does, you're required to have another audit, essentially, a federal audit, where we come in and look at compliance and ensure that you're materially compliant with the requirements of the federal government for the monies you receive. And so for fiscal year 16, we looked at the Home Investment Partnership Program grant and tested that program. We had no findings. And we determined that, again, you received an unmodified opinion for compliance with the federal requirements, which is, again, the highest opinion we can give. So that's always good to see. And so basically, if you add up all of the reports, in addition, we looked at 2 agreed-upon procedures for entertainment district as well. And the last audit we performed was for the court. So it basically is a triannual court review that we're required to do. We did have a few findings that came up during our court review, just having to do with ensuring that monthly bank reconciliations were performed timely, making sure that outstanding checks more than 6 months old are being reviewed and cleared off, and also any pending or outstanding bonds that are more than 90 days old, just again have to be reviewed and then cleared off if everything's been settled. And so we just recommended some procedures be put into place over that. We really want to thank all the efforts of Katie and Bill and all the finance staff for all their hard work. Out of this 140-page report, we essentially give 2 pages of that's ours, and the rest of it is the town's hard work. So we really appreciate their efforts in this. I don't know if there are any questions.
Questions, anyone? I think what we're going to do is sit up all evening and study the details.
It's a good sleep aid if you have trouble.
Good. Well, I appreciate that so much. And by the way, thanks to Katie and Bill for a good job. Bill, Mike, you got to say
Yeah, I just wanted to mention, too, I've had a lot of experience in the public sector, and it's nice to have a clean bill of health in terms of the audits. I think those are things that are kind of the bellwether for the operation of the entities, and it's nice to have that. And I know we've been pretty good year after year, and I think we've talked about already, discussed the operations in terms of financials for the court. So we're looking forward to getting that done as well. So we appreciate that.
Yeah, we come in and we interrupt everyone's lives for 3 weeks on end, and they have to do their job in addition to helping us get all this information. So we really appreciate all their hard efforts.
Good, appreciate that. Any other comments? Yeah, we've got a good accounting department. We're very, very proud of them, very pleased. And they've done an outstanding job for us. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Okay, we'll move on then to number C. I'm sorry, we got a motion. Anyone care to make a motion?
I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion to approve the comprehensive annual financial report known as CAFR for the town of Prescott Valley for fiscal year 2015-2016.
Okay.
I'll second that, Mayor.
Motion and a second. Can you set the vote, Diane?
Mayor? Councilmember Whiting?
Yes.
That's unanimous, Mayor.
Thank you, Diane. Okay, move on to C. Consideration of authorizing the mayor to sign resolution number 1983, amending policy number 1-07, town facilities usage as revised for unmanned model aircraft operations. Brian, how in the world did you get into that?
How did I get in that mess? Well, compliments of the state legislature in assisting us in that matter. But in doing so, they signed into law an item that is restricting local regulation of unmanned aircraft. So we're really speaking in regards to drones on this case. So these are items that can fly out of eyesight. In doing such, of course, staff would seeking to comply with state statutes went through a review of potential sites located within our park system, as that is where the indication is by state statute for placement of these areas. We went through that process. We proposed to the Parks and Recreation Commission 2 possible locations. Out of that, unanimously came their recommendation that is being presented to you tonight for a section in Fane Park is located and indicated on the map as attached to the proposal for you this evening as well. In doing such, again, this does not change our regulations as it relates to remote control aircraft, but unmanned aircraft for drones. In doing such, and we are looking for your recommendation and direction as it relates to this change in facility use policy.
Comments, anyone? Questions? Larry or Ivan?
Just wanted to make it clear that the state isn't allowing anybody at the local level to control the drones. That's all controlled by federal and state law. What they did say was that we could continue to regulate model aircraft, but we had to have at least one place where model aircraft could be flown on town property. And so that's why this modification was made to designate Fane Park as the place where model aircraft can be flown in a particular spot. And the state saw the drone world as something we just shouldn't deal with, and that's all now being dealt with by federal and state law.
Right. And correct me if I'm wrong, Ivan, it also does indicate that this designated location is for the takeoff and landing of those unmanned aircraft.
That's correct.
Other comments? Mark?
I just got a question. Is it irrespective of size? Because I know drones above a certain size have to be registered with the FAA. And
yeah. Remember, we're not dealing with drones here. We're only dealing with unmanned model aircraft.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that's all we're dealing with.
Are there any other questions, comments? Anything else, Brian?
No, sir.
I think we understand it. And I don't think we mind that we're going to get that done. Comments, motions, anyone?
I have one question.
Sure, Mike.
Does that then limit that use at other parks?
It does. It prohibits it. It always has been prohibited in other parks. So this is something that the state insisted we allow at least in one place.
Because I've noticed, I live near a park, there's been kind of an upsurge of popularity for unmanned aircraft, and I can see the dangers in it, especially peak hours of the park. So it is kind of interesting. So we're going to make some sort of effort to publicize this so the community knows where the designated park is.
Yes, those folks that would like to be able to utilize it would be located there, right there at Fain Park. We would have a usage rule sign indicated as well, make modifications in the fence allowing that access at those locations. The nice part about this is it is in a undeveloped area of Fain Park that would allow for those landings and takeoffs to occur.
And again, if I can just explain again, we are not in the business of controlling drones, period. That's all done by state and federal law.
So this is purely for RC aircraft. Any other comments? Mike?
Be more happy to make a motion.
Okay, we're ready.
To authorize the mayor to sign resolution 1983 amending policy number 1-07 town facilities usage as revised for unmanned model aircraft operations.
I'll second that.
Okay, with a motion and a second, Diane, would you set the vote?
That's unanimous, Mayor.
Didn't mind show up? It says
Yes.
it's green on here.
It is unanimous.
Yes,
Oh,
I have
unanimous.
all,
I'm
I have
sorry.
all of your votes.
Okay, thank
you.
Brian, you can go for it. Okay. We'll go on to D, a consideration of approving an agreement with the Department of Public Safety to accept the VOCA Crime Assistance Grant, award number 2015-447 of $15,197, which requires 20% non-federal match by the town for $3,799 for one part-time community service officer, victim crime unit assistance agreement renewal. That was a mouthful.
You said it all, Mayor.
The what?
Yeah, you said it all.
I said all, huh?
You said it all.
Basically, it's pretty simple, I think. Pretty
It is.
straightforward.
So I come before you tonight. This is a grant supplied by Department of Public Safety in Arizona through the Office for Victims of Crime Act. And so it's a grant. This is actually a renewal. It was a 2-year grant on the first one. This is it's not automatic, but we have to do the 1-year renewal for this position. We've already hired a person who's worked the first year. It's a crime victims advocate. So what they do is we have a crime victims advocate in our domestic violence unit who deals with all the victims of domestic violence. What this position does is they deal with the victims of all other crime. And what his responsibility is to contact the victims, let them know what resources are available to them, keeps them up to date on their court cases or the progress of the case and things like that. So it's a really, it's just another good way of maintaining relationships with our community and letting them know that we do care after they have become a victim. So this is a renewal.
Good job. Any other questions, comments? I think that was very, very well done. By the way, thank Laura for her putting it together for you.
I will, thank you.
Okay. Anyone care to make a motion, a demotion? Or
I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion to approve an agreement with the Department of Public Safety to accept the VOCA Crime Victim Assistance Grant fiscal year 2016-17, award number 2015-447 of $15,197, which requires a 20% non-federal cash match by the town of $3,799 for one part-time community service officer, victim crime unit assistant.
I'll second that, Mayor.
Okay, with a motion and a second, would you set the vote, Diane?
That's unanimous, Mayor.
Thank you, Diane. Chief, go get the money.
Thank
We'll
you.
move on to E, consideration of approving an agreement with, it's the same thing again, with the Department of Public Safety to accept the BOCA Crime and Assistance Grant, award of 2015-446 for $14,056, requiring a 20% federal match of $3,500 for one part-time community service officer, victim crime unit, and supplies.
Thank you, Mayor. So this item I bring to I'll try to keep this straight because it's a little confusing. So the award we just talked about a moment ago on the previous item was a 2-year award. We just did the second year of that initial award for a renewal. The item before you now is a new request and a new award for 1 year. And what's going to happen is they will both expire at the same time. With the cooperation of town administration, we are going to be combining these 2 grants so that the one person who's doing it now will become a full-time position, which actually works out better in the end. And so what happens when this one that's before you now expires, the other 2-year will also be expiring. At that time, our request for another VOCA grant will be for a full-time position. So hopefully that's not too confusing.
It's confusing, but I think we can handle it. The one thing that isn't confusing, you're bringing in some outside money to us.
Yes, it's outside money, and it's a 20% match on the position.
We understand that real well. Any other questions, comments?
I just had a question, and that is, previous to the grant, did we fund those positions, or were they volunteer, or how was that?
No, and it is well known and explained to the position holders that if the grant goes away, the position likely goes away as well. Unfortunately.
So it's only been in existence since we've been fortunate enough to get the grants. So.
Yeah, the VOCA grants are actually new. This is the ending of the first year or first award that we had, and I think it was pretty new at the time. And I don't know where they got an influx of money, but it seems to be a very well-funded grant program.
Well, we'll look forward to it for sure.
Yeah, it's a great program because it really helps us keep in touch with our victims of crime.
Any other questions, comments, motions?
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the agreement with the Department of Public Safety to accept VOCA Crime Victim Assistance Grant fiscal year 2016-17 award number 2015-446 of $14,056, which requires a 20% non-federal cash match by the town of $3,514 for one part-time community service officer victim crime unit assistance and supplies. Wow.
That was a mouthful.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Would you set the vote, Diane?
That's unanimous, Mayor.
I figured it would be. Thank you, Diane. Chief, go for it. We go on to number F, consideration of approving the agreement with the Department of Public Safety to accept VOCA Crime Assistance Grant fiscal year 2016-17, award number 2015-445 of $1,200, which requires a 20% non-federal match of $300. Chief?
So, Your Honor,
Very similar.
Mayor, this apparently they do have a lot of money. So this is again a grant through the Department of Public Safety, and what this is for is $1,500 in emergency money to provide repairs for people who can't afford them. So as listed in this, people who are the victims of elder abuse, sexual or adults molested as children, survivors of homicide, victims robbery or bank robbery, assaults, all those kinds of crimes. If there's damages to property that needs to be repaired and fixed and they can't afford it, this emergency grant will cover those repairs for them so they don't have to suffer.
Small one, but it helps.
Yes.
Any questions, comments, motions, anyone?
Mr. Mayor, I'd be happy to make a motion.
Okay,
It's
we're
a
ready.
tongue twister. I think this is a test tonight. I'm not sure. Motion to approve an agreement with Department of Public Safety to accept VOCA Crime Victim Assistance Grant 2016-2017 award number 2015-445 of $1,200, which requires a 20% non-federal cash match by the town of $300 for emergency repairs.
Good. Second, anybody?
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Will you set the vote, Diane?
That's unanimous too, Mayor.
Thank you, Chief. We appreciate that one.
Thank you, Mayor and Council.
Good, thank you. Okay, we move on to unscheduled comments from the public. Those requiring wishing to address the council need not request permission in advance. Any such remarks shall be addressed to the council as a whole and not to a member thereof. Such remarks shall be limited to 5 minutes unless additional time is granted by the mayor. Anyone care to make any public comments? Mike, no comment tonight? Debbie, no comment? Okay, no comments. We'll move on to number 11, which I know everyone hates, and that's the motion to adjourn.
Mayor, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, Diane, we have the motion in a second. Would you set the vote?
That's unanimous, Mayor.
Thank you. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you all for coming.